response to a buyout offer to millions of federal employees. It's all part of an effort to thin the ranks of the federal workforce. Thanks for joining us for the News 4 Rundown on this Tuesday, January 28th. I'm Sean Yancey. An email is right now being sent to federal workers that offers them the chance to take what is being called a deferred resignation. News 4's Ariel Hickson has the latest developments from our live desk.
That's right. Millions of federal workers are receiving an email tonight offering a buyout, or what's called a deferred resignation, and they have about a week to decide. Now, here's what's in that email obtained by NBC News. It says that this program begins effective January 28th and is available to all federal employees until February 6th. If you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits regardless of your daily workload and will be exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until September 30th, 2025. The email was sent to more than 2 million federal workers. Recipients simply have to hit reply to the email and then type the word resign in the message and hit send from their government email account. Again, workers have until February 6th to choose this deferred resignation, and it's available to full-time federal workers except military personnel, U.S. Postal Service employees, and workers in positions dealing with immigration enforcement and national security. The Trump administration says it expects 5 to 10% of workers to resign. We'll have to see how it pays out.
News 4's Ariel Hickson tonight. Thank you. Tonight, the American Federation of Government Employees, the largest federal employee union, responded to the news with a statement that said, in part, purging the federal government of dedicated career federal employees will have vast unintended consequences that will cause chaos for the Americans who depend on a functioning federal government. It is clear that the Trump administration's goal is to turn the federal government into a toxic environment where workers cannot stay, even if they want to. Also today up on Capitol Hill, a federal judge paused part of a Trump administrative directive to freeze dozens of federal aid programs, at least until Monday. Now, it comes after a memo from the Office of Management and Budget that halted billions of dollars, including foreign aid, non-governmental organizations, DEI, and the Green New Deal. Tonight's order from the judge only applies to the pause of disbursements in open grants. In her first address, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt assured people that certain programs and benefits would not be affected.
Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits, food stamps, welfare benefits, assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted by this pause.
So let's talk a little bit more about what is affected. Transportation is one of the sectors that could take a huge hit without federal funding. News 4's transportation reporter Adam Tuss is digging into that and has new reaction about how this announcement could affect our roads and our rails.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of questions about this federal funding freeze and specifically what it could mean for places like Metro here. We're also hearing from leaders in Maryland and Virginia, all of them concerned that some key transportation projects could be stalled.
This is chaos.
Shockwaves being sent around our region and the country as word that millions in federal funding could be withheld for all sorts of programs. Now, in the transportation community, that kind of funding is used for just about every road and rail project.
So if this goes and you get a 90-day hold, that throws off a project. People sitting in traffic 3 months from now because the project got delayed, and sometimes if it's delayed for 90 days, the delay takes much longer because equipment is moved around.
Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen blasting this news, his office saying all federally funded transportation projects across the country, roads, bridges, public transit, and more, will be halted, including projects already under construction. Now, Metro relies on millions in federal funds every year, money that's critical for repairs. During a recent interview, GM Randy Clark talking with News 4 about the need to keep this kind of funding coming to the transit agency.
Happy to work with anyone. If the president can help us at Metro, we would really appreciate that. Everyone, I think, universally knows this region can't work well without a well-performing Metro, and our job, therefore, is to perform.
Trump administration officials say all of this is an intense review of federal spending and necessary to make sure that all federal funding complies with the president's new executive orders. In the district, Adam Tuss, News 4.
The Trump administration's immigration orders now have thousands of families nationwide living in fear that their children could be without a guardian, if ICE suddenly shows up at their door. This is new video from the Associated Press. You can see officers wearing body armor, armed with guns, taking away people who they believe are in the country illegally. ICE agents say they detained 13 people yesterday in Maryland, but did not reach all of their targets. As parents fear being deported, a priest at St. Matthew's Episcopal Church in Hyattsville told News 4 5 families have already signed documents to designate him as their children's guardian, just in case they're deported.
For me, it's very bad situation. I said, wow, for example, is the 17 or 16 year or 15 year is living with me. Is different reaction. Every day is moving on the school or had the problem. When see the children, for me, I don't like the situation right now.
Father Rivas has promised to care for as many as 14 children if their parents are deported. Most of the children were born here and are American citizens. Tonight, a number of federal DEI employees are on administrative leave while the Trump administration works on a plan to permanently eliminate their roles. Our An Yang spoke with Professor Kay Wise Whitehead from Loyola, Maryland, to find out what this means for those employees, their families, what actually DEI is, and what it's not.
People tend to conflate affirmative action and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And they are different from each other because DEI really deals with federal contractors by executive order, treating applicants fairly and equally. It's actually making sure that those that have been the most harmed by some of the most restrictive policies in our societies have an opportunity to compete on an equal level.
All right, so talk about the impacts. Immediate impacts and mental health impacts potentially for the people whose jobs are impacted, and then, of course, the rank and file federal workers.
I think that people should be clear that it's going to financially impact people's lives. It's not very easy to find a new job. Some people have been in jobs where they've been working on diversity, equity, and inclusion for 10, 15, 20 years. Remember, we're talking the roots of it in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So the second impact is this way of feeling destabilized. So if there are policies that the government, the administration is focused on, it feels like they're trying to right a wrong. Something also happening where people feel that they are under attack and they're not sure how to move. I can't change my race. I can't change my class. I can't change my ethnicity. I can't change the ways in which I show up in the world. So if you're telling me there's something wrong with that what I've been receiving is something that is illegal, rather than the responsibility of a just society to bring about this type of equity, is making people feel a little bit uncomfortable, and they're not sure what to do. They're not sure how to act, and everything is coming so fast.
Still to come tonight on the News 4 Rundown, there is an increase in the number of women freezing their eggs, but it doesn't mean it's more affordable. We're working for your health with a closer look at the real cost and what you need to know before you start the procedure. Here's a live look outside on this mild Tuesday evening. Can we expect warmer weather to continue throughout the week? Storm Team 4 meteorologist Amelia Draper is coming up next with a look at your forecast. All right, we're back now with